On March 19, 1865, Joseph E. Johnston organized his forces into a hook-shaped line at Cole's Plantation, blocking the Goldsboro Road. That morning, William T. Sherman's Federal left wing stumbled into the Confederate trap just as it was beginning to set. After a Union probing attack failed, the Confederates launched a massive assault which drove General William P. Carlin's 14th Corps division from the field. Morgan's division managed to hold on despite being surrounded on three sides by the Confederates' adversities. Late that afternoon, a strong Federal defense of the Morris Farm by the left wing's 20th Corps managed to squelch the Confederate advance, the first day's fighting in a technical draw. Failing to completely crush the Union lines, Johnston's Confederates pulled back to positions held earlier in the day. Sherman's right wing began arriving on the battlefield by midday on March 20th. Sharp skirmishing prevailed as the Confederates changed position to deal with the arrival of the Federal right wing. The junction of Sherman's divided army at Bentonville placed nearly 60,000 Union troops, including reserves, against Joe Johnston, who had brought to the field approximately 16,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry, with which to oppose Sherman. Despite receiving limited reinforcements, the Confederates were no match numerically for the powerful Union army. Johnston claimed to a tenuous position guarding his army's sole escape route over rain-swollen Mill Creek and began evacuating his wounded to Smithville, 20 miles to the north. To Sherman's great irritation, he found the Confederate army still in position on March 21st. The Union commander was anxious to reach Goldsboro and was impatient for the Confederates to retreat. Johnston, outnumbered and no longer holding the advantage of surprise, could only hope that the Federals might be lured into a costly frontal attack on his small but well-entrenched army. For 2 days following the main battle of March 19th, the opposing forces squared off in a severe and continuous skirmish fight. On March 21st, Sherman's right wing moved to within a few hundred yards of the left half of Johnston's army. That afternoon, little reconnaissance by General Joseph A. Muller's 17th Corps Division escalated into a full-scale push toward Mill Creek Bridge on the Confederate left flank. Muller's charge overran Joe Johnston's headquarters, forcing the general and his entourage to beat a hasty retreat. At this critical junction, a well-orchestrated Confederate counterattack led by Lieutenant General William J. Hardee quickly descended upon Muller's two brigades and forced them back. Sherman was furious with Muller's advance, fearing it would bring on the general engagement he wanted to avoid. The Union commander called a halt to the operation, but not before Muller's men were roughly handled by the combination of Confederate cavalry and infantry. Hardee's bold action assured Johnston the use of Mill Creek Bridge, his only means of escape from the battlefield, but the triumph of forcing the Federals back came at a personal cost to General Hardee. His only son, a youth of 16, in the 8th Texas Cavalry, was mortally wounded in the charge against Muller. With no further advantage to be gained by holding a position at Bentonville, Johnston's weary troops abandoned their works during the night and withdrew toward Smithfield. On March 22nd, Federal forces pursued the retreating Confederates as far as Hannah's Creek before giving up the chase. Sherman was content to let Johnston escape, fully expecting to have to deal with him again at a later date. But the Confederates' withdrawal cleared the way for Sherman to occupy Goldsboro, which was foremost in the general's mind. His army needed rest and provisions, and Sherman also wanted to have the additional forces of J.M. Schofield and A.H. Terry before tangling with Johnston again. The armies of Sherman, Schofield, and Terry converged on Goldsboro and occupied the town for 2.5 weeks in preparation for the final leg of the campaign. On April 26, 1865, Johnston laid down Confederate arms on Sherman's term at Benton Place near Durham in the largest troop surrender of the American Civil War.